What's up, guys? This is Zach with ECS Tuning, and today we have a special guest. I've got Steffen here from Liqui Moly. He's their product applications engineer from the research and development department. He was here at our facility doing product training with a lot of our employees, and while he was here, we decided to make a video on oil. So I've got a list of questions that I want to ask, some that I came up with, some I got off my coworkers, but just some things that we want to know about oil, and we figured you guys might want to know as well. So we're making a video, and then at the end we're going to go over some of the differences between some of the Liqui Moly products in their range, and just talk oil today. So I think we'll get right into it. Steffen, thanks for coming. How are you?
I'm good.
It's great to see you again.
Thank you.
So I think we'll get right into it.
Yes.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. My first question, and this is a question that I've wanted the answer to for a long time. Since I can remember, I've been hearing that once you switch to a synthetic oil, that then you can't go back to conventional. Now, not that I would want to go back to conventional, but why is it that you can't, or is that even true at all?
No, that's a myth from the past. Fact is, all the modern engines, they ask for a OEM specified motor oil. It is synthetic based. There is no mineral or conventional based oil that has a current valid OEM approval. So the other way around would be much more worse, switching from a factory approved synthetic oil to a non-approved conventional oil.
How does a multi-grade oil work? So, you know, you've got, well, first let's go over the nomenclature. So 5W40, I think a lot of people know that the W doesn't stand for weight, it stands for winter.
Yes.
So that's a temperature. So, you know, at 5W, at a cold start, the oil is a 5 grade oil.
Let's keep it simple. The first number identifies the low temperature behavior of the motor oil. The lower the number, the thinner is the oil when the oil is cold, which is good for lubrication after the cold start.
Okay.
So then comes the W, the winter, that makes it a multi-grade oil. The second number is the hot temperature behavior.
Okay.
The lower that number is, the thinner is the oil at hot temperature, which is good for fuel efficiency, for example.
Sure.
Yeah.
So my question is, how is it that an oil goes from thin at cold to a thicker viscosity or a higher viscosity grade at operating temperature? How does it go from a 5 at cold to a 40 at operating temperature?
Yeah, just keep a honey as a sample. When the honey is cold, it's thick. When you heat it up, it's getting really thin.
Yeah.
Engine oil has the same property. When it's cold, it's thick, and it wants to go too thin for an engine at operating temperature. So you need some additives inside. Viscosity improvers, for example. They are part of the additive package. Around the additive package is sometimes more than 30% in a motor oil formulation, on the motor oil formulation, and that viscosity improver keeps the oil more stable when it's getting hot.
I see.
So
okay,
it's
so
not
it's the
getting too
additive
thin.
package and the viscosity improvers that
Exactly.
allow it to maintain a higher viscosity grade at operating temperature.
Yes.
Interesting. I hear a lot of people talking about using a different oil in their car if it's winter versus summer. Is there any benefit to that in this day and age? I feel like there are so many, you know, technology advances as far as oil goes that doesn't seem necessary. Is it? Is there any benefit to doing that?
Not today with this modern multi-grade oils. In the past, yes, you have to switch from a summer to a winter oil. But this is many, many years ago when these modern multi-grade oils have not been existing. Today, it's important for you to use an oil that is relatively thin when it's cold outside. That means that first number again, use a 0 or use a 5W oil to guarantee that fast lubrication after cold start. But then, when the engine has reached its operating temperature, it's always much higher temperature than outside temperature. So the outside temperature has nearly zero influence on the hot temperature viscosity of the motor oil. So to answer your questions, there is no benefit for switching to different viscosities from summer to winter.
Good info. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It is a lot hotter in your engine than it's ever going to be outside. So that's a good point. Okay, all right, now let's get into the nitty gritty. What are some major differences between, let's say, the American Petroleum Institute's their system or their grading system versus the European counterpart, the ACEA? And then outside of them, how about OEM approvals? And are they more stringent, less stringent? How do those all compare?
So all of these institutes, they classify motor oils into category and performance classifications. So the API itself is a relatively rough classification system. It just knows gasoline and heavy duty diesels, that depending on the history. You know, in Europe, a lot of people have passenger vehicles that are powered by a diesel engine. Here in the US or in North America in general, most of the diesel engines are in a heavy duty trucks or coaches or whatever. So that API system just focuses primarily on the gasoline-fired engines, that is the API S classification. But again, it's relatively rough in comparison to the ACEA, which is a much more finer separating system, because we have different operating conditions, different engine technology, we have extended oil range intervals, we have different emission standards. So that all is much more, what makes it necessary that the ACEA is more separating. And based on this ACEA classification, the OEMs itself have their in-house requirements to the motor oil. So keep it simple, just saying as soon as there is an OEM specification available or valid, you can forget about the ACEA or the API classification overall.
Okay, so once you get an OEM approval, that basically supersedes, that is more stringent than any API or ACEA approval?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, so if you've got a BMW approval, that's all that really matters?
Exactly, well that classifies exactly what the oil's performance has to be at minimum.
I see. And does that classify like everything in the oil, from the base oil to the additives to everything?
Yes.
So the manufacturer's approval is very thorough.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's also good to know. I get questions about that from time to time, and I've never really known the honest answer. That's great. Okay, another one. How do you get an OEM approval?
Simple thing. We as an oil manufacturer, we develop in our laboratories the oil according to the given requirements from the car manufacturer. When we finished our testings, we send these oil samples to the car manufacturers. They do their in-house tests, and if everything works well, we get a factory approval on this motor oil.
That seems pretty simple. You just send it to them and then they run it through their tests and see if it meets their standards. Can you exceed their standards? Or
there is a given range that have to fulfill minimum. You can exceed a little bit, but not too much. The range is very
kind of a short range, short window.
Yes.
That makes sense. But so it is possible to be better than an OEM approval and not get their approval?
As long as you stay within the given range, yes. You can also use different quality of the ingredients. That makes a difference.
Okay, that makes sense. So further into OEM approvals, BMW, for example, has an LL-01 and an LL-04. Yes. A lot of people, I think that LL-04 supersedes or is just the newer version of LL-01. Is that true or no?
It is newer, but not supersedes. Okay. LL-04 simply means it is a reduced SAPS oil. It's a mid-SAPS oil formulation introduced for the BMW diesels with a DPF system. So to answer your question, supersedes not. Here in North America, if you have a BMW with a gasoline engine, you have to use Long Life 01 approved motor oil.
So 01 is still the go-to for gas engines?
Yes, 00 or LL-04 is not allowed to use in gasoline engines outside Central Europe.
Okay. Okay, so but in Central Europe you do use LL-04 in gasoline engines, but that's the only place?
Central Europe, yes, because we have different fuel quality.
Okay.
So there
lower
it's
quality?
allowed to higher.
Come on, go figure. Well, okay, so LL-04 does not necessarily, or doesn't supersede LL-01. What about Volkswagen? What about 502, 504, 505?
Yeah, Volkswagen is one of the few manufacturers, Volkswagen Audi, they allow you to use a low SAPS formulation in gasoline engines outside Central Europe, as long as the gas quality, let's say, is not too bad. So here in North America, you can use low SAPS oil for a gas engine, but from technical point of view, it's not the first option. Just focus on 502 and 504. Okay. 504 is for gasolines, but it's a low SAPS formulation. Okay. So you can use it, but I would prefer from technical point of view use 502. 502 is a full SAPS formulation and it's also gasoline engines with standard oil drain intervals. And as you know, these extended oil range intervals are only valid in Central Europe. So using a 504 approved motor oil here in the US, possible, allowed, but it does not offer a real benefit in comparison to a 502 approved motor oil.
So explain to me, why is it that you would not run a 504 versus a 502? What is you don't gain any benefit for what reason?
Let's answer the other way around. In Central Europe, you have a real benefit in using 504 because this is so-called long life 3 specifications. So depending on the engine, it's suitable to go for up to a 30,000 miles oil range interval with 504.
Wow.
502 is the standard oil drain interval, which is limited in Central Europe to 10,000 miles only. So, but this extended oil range interval is valid only in Central Europe. So when you use a 504 approved oil here, again, it's a low ZEPS formulation, you don't get the benefit in extended oil range intervals. So that's why there is no benefit.
Why don't you get that interval benefit?
It's the fuel quality that matters.
Okay.
Yes, the fuel quality here in the States has become better in the past, but it's not on the level that we have in Central Europe. And the lower the fuel quality, the more is the, let's say, the negative impact to the oil itself. So, and the low SEPS formulation has not the properties or the good properties in comparison to a full SEPS formulation. Just an example, to neutralize acids to prevent sludge.
Okay. Okay, so with a better quality fuel, you can really wring the oil change interval out in a car, and that makes sense.
Yes.
I see. Okay. All right, that makes sense. Let's keep going. Okay, now let's get into some Liqui Moly products. Why we sell a lot of Liqui Moly. I believe in the product. We use it in almost all of our shop cars. Why is it the best? Why do we recommend it to our customers?
You can trust in the quality of the product. You know, Liqui Moly is a German company founded in 1957, and we produce only in Germany. So we have no local blends. So wherever you see our products, they're coming from these. We have 2 facilities in Germany, so it's worldwide guaranteed the same quality. We have technical support, we have marketing support, we have customer supports. So this package makes us so strong.
Yeah, so from the quality of the oil to the quality of customer service. Yes. And I mean, you're here, that says a lot. Like I haven't had such interaction with an oil company ever, so I think that's a great point. Let's get into the products a little bit more. There are, say a handful of options for a given car. How do I know which to select? Which is the right one for my vehicle?
Most important thing when you select or want to find out the right oil for your car is first take a look into your owner's manual. What is the given specification, the performance specification? So mostly you can choose 1, 2, or 3 different viscosities that all fit in that specification.
Depending on where you live, climate-wise?
Operating condition, climate-wise, total mileage of the car, or is it customized or tuned up or modified or not? Okay. So with the viscosity, you can adjust a little bit on your personal operating conditions.
So first I'll look for what the approval that I'm looking for is. So saying a Volkswagen, 502 is the number. So then I go to the store and I'm looking for a 502 first.
Exactly.
And then I get to viscosity.
Exactly.
And I choose what is sensible for me in my climate or my vehicle, based on the range that the manufacturer gives me.
Exactly. Yeah.
That makes sense.
And that range is clearly given.
Right, yeah. And sometimes there isn't a range, right?
Sometimes there is no range, but especially when it comes to the latest high technology engines, they run with ultra low viscosity motor oils. There is only one viscosity fix given. The latest Volkswagen approval, for example, 508, 509, which has to be a 0 W20 oil. There is no range allowed. It has to be 0 W20. So, yeah.
That makes sense. All right, so I want to know more specifically about the Molygen. Yes. I know that it tastes good, and I know that we've been selling it by the truckload. It's been flying off the shelves. We've been selling this 540 like hotcakes. What makes it so good, and what's so special about it?
Well, the Molygen New Generation motor oils is a special development from Liqui Moly, designed for latest gasoline-fired high-performance engines. We have a range of different viscosities available. That's specifically 5W41 is also suitable for use in some of the European car manufacturers.
Yeah, that's what we've been selling.
Yeah. The specialty on it is, beside that green color and the good taste, is it contains an additive formulation, which is, we call it molecular friction control. It's a combination of 2 active agents, tungsten and molybdenum, and they work together and create that synergistic effect to reduce friction and wear.
I see. So, okay, so the molybdenum and tungsten, does that preclude me? Do I need to add an additive like Ceratec to an oil like that, or should I not?
No, you should not, because the additive package in here is in perfect balance. It works, it's proven, so there is no need to add additional friction
No need for
modifiers.
Ceratec? Okay.
It's everything ready
In one
for
package,
Molygen,
ready
yes.
to go. You don't have to buy any extra additives. That's
Exactly.
nice. What about the green colors? We've got the leak detection, right?
Exactly. So after adding it into the motor oil, you have a limited time to identify leaks by using an ultraviolet light. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's really cool. We've been selling a lot of UV flashlights. Well, Steffen, I think that does it for my questions on oil. Next, we're going to make a video on additives in general. We're going to run through a plethora of additives and talk about them. So I appreciate you coming and talking oil with us. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it and learned some stuff about oil. Check out the next video on additives on our YouTube channel. This is a YouTube video. So on this channel, subscribe to it. Thanks for watching. Check the link in the description below to buy any of these Liqui Moly products that you may need for your car. See you guys next time.